A snowy night in downtown Toronto as we get you set on Hall of Fame weekend here. The Carolina Hurricanes in town to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's Legends Row, and you can see the flakes almost fitting a little bit. Hockey is in the air as we welcome you inside Real Sports Bar and Grill, downtown Toronto, just adjacent to Legends Row. Ryan Leslie, Brad May, we've got a couple of special guests. You know Wendel Clark, and of course you know Will Arnett as well. Gentlemen, thanks for being here on Unsportsmanlike content. What a weekend. And I guess we'll just start with your Leaf fandom. Let's get right into it, Will. You had a chance a few moments ago to meet with Wendel, and he had a little gift for you.
Had a little, what was that?
A little gift for you on the bench.
He had a gift for me. I got a signed jersey. First of all, you guys surprised me that I didn't know he was going to be there.
Love it.
And then I come out there, and there he is. And then there was a Wendel jersey, and he signed it for me on the spot. And I handed it to my buddy who was with me, and I said, "Find a vault and put it in there." You know?
This is great, because you grew up a Leaf fan. You're a Toronto guy. As everybody knows, this was your guy, 17.
Yeah, 17 was my guy. 17's my number. Now you all have the passwords to my computer and everything. And
he's got the picture of you, Wendel, on his phone as his avatar.
Yeah.
On his profile. So when he looks at it, there's the same picture of you knocking a guy out from Winnipeg.
That's because he has a bad day, and then he looks at me. Oh, guys, my day's not that bad.
You know what? True story. When was it? About 6 months ago, I asked Wendel to make a video for a buddy of mine. And so I reached out to you on WhatsApp so you could send me a video, and my avatar is him. And then I sent it, and I realized I was embarrassed. I was like, oh, geez. Now he's going to see my avatar as him. It's like he's getting a text from himself.
55-year-old man, biggest hero, Wendel Clark. Yeah. There's no shame in that.
I'm officially old now.
You get that a lot. Well, guys, there's lots to get into on this weekend. And obviously, it's a big game tonight, a really huge one for the Leafs as they want to get back on track. Before we get into all that, though, I want to just tell some stories. Will, I think everybody knows you from so many great things, from Smartless, your podcast, to Arrested Development, which was my favorite. I think maybe the funniest show in the history of television, for my money. You've got a new movie coming out. You've done all kinds of voice work. We see you, commercials, television, you name it. What's the one thing that you are most proud of in your resume of work?
Well, I'm going to be a company guy right now. I'm going to say my current RBC commercials.
Yes, shameless. We caught it.
No, I mean it.
Oh.
No, I do love doing that. They're great guys. But truly, Arrested Development gave me the guy Mitch Hurwitz, who wrote that show, brilliant guy, and he really gave me a career. I was just banging around New York trying to get work and trying to pay the rent. That changed my life. So that was definitely a big one for me, and a special place in my heart. Great group of people. Great friendship. My buddy Jason Bateman, who I do Smartless with, we've been friends for over 25 years because of that show.
It was lightning in a bottle, wasn't it? Like, it was just so magical that people really, really gravitated to it.
Yeah, it's rare, and when it's when it's happening. It's rare when you're doing something, when you got chemistry. I don't know if that's what it's like when you're on a team that has good chemistry. You can feel the difference, right? You can sense that for whatever reason, you don't even know why. It's better than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean?
Well, no, team's the strongest when it's a team. You can have 2 or 3 guys on a team, then that you'd look and you think, well, they got the 2 best players. That should be the best team. Doesn't always make out the best team. It's all the pieces that you got to pull together for a team game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, by the way, I've just equated myself to a hockey player.
Just like that.
But so there's that, and then I think this new film that we just made is This Thing On, that I wrote with Bradley Cooper and produced with him, and he directed, and I'm in. I'm really proud of this piece. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on it for 7 years. And that's just the way it goes, and it's finally coming out. I'm excited for people to see it.
Can you give us a little teaser about what it's about?
It's based on a true story. Not to give too much away, a true story about. I met a comic, a stand-up comedian, when I was over in Europe working years ago, English guy, and he told me the story of how he became a stand-up. He went into a pub, and they had a cover charge. He didn't want to pay it. He said, why is there a cover charge? And they said, we're doing open mic. And he was going through a divorce, and he was kind of at the end of his luck, and he said, the hell with it. He wrote his name down. And he went in, he's having a beer, and they called him up. And he just got up there and started talking. And he felt better, and he just started going week after, and never told anybody in his life. And that's where we kick off. And it's based on a true story, and that just stuck with me. And it's about this guy and his wife coming back together, played by the great Laura Dern, Academy Award winner, and really real genuine story, and so I'm really proud of it.
That's fantastic. Hey, I of all the things I was going down, doing my getting information for this, Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
Glory. Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And I myself, I skated in the Battle of the Blades here in Canada. It was a reality show, skating with Olympic skaters. And I got it written down here, but Strauss von Waldenberg, is he a great character or what?
That was a lot of fun. Strauss von Waldenberg was fun. I got to do that with Will. And, we did some skating in that. Of the four leads, it was Will Ferrell and John Heater. They played the male, skating double partners, and then the other two was Strauss and his sister, played by my ex-wife Amy Poehler. And Amy and I did. So we all had to do some skating. None of those guys skated that much. I was the only one who really skated as much as I did, and a lot was done by doubles. So I took a lot of pride. I was like, no, I'm going to do as much. I couldn't do any of the jumps or anything, of course, but the other thing was I couldn't skate on the figure skates because I kept catching my toe. So I made them shave down the pick in the front, and then I was able to do a bunch of the skating, and that was really fun.
What about the Iron Lotus? The Iron Lotus.
The Iron Lotus, the ultimate move. Too dangerous for competition. Yeah.
Wendel, what about your? How many times have you been asked to be in film or any type of?
No talent. There's no ass. There's no talent.
Come on. You've never been asked to be in any type of hockey film? We got to get you on Shorzy or something.
Well, the odd one you get asked to do the one day or here or there.
Yeah.
So there's always a few asked every now and again to do some stuff, but it's a long day to spend. I have a lot of respect for these guys that spend hours of doing nothing to do your 30 seconds or your minute and a half. And I just see that because I've done a few commercials, so the amount of time you spend doing a minute and a half commercial. So what is a movie? Like, you can see why it's 1 year, 3 years, 7 years before it comes and gets built. So it takes a lot of patience. I remember talking to Peter Zezel when I played with them here, and when they did Youngblood, and they said we sat in the dressing room for days dressed and didn't go on.
Wow.
Just to get ready for a scene. And so it's something. That's dedication.
I want to kind of drift in and out of some topics. And while I've got you here, and it's Hall of Fame weekend and the Hall of Fame game, and you look at this class, Wendel, and we can all chime in on this. I mean, every year it just seems to be getting deeper and deeper in terms of the inductees. I guess as you look at the names, I don't know if it's Chara or if it's, if you look at Joe Thornton or whomever, wherever you want to go with it, what stands out about maybe the class and maybe about those individuals going in for you?
Probably a lot of them is just the dedication and longevity of all their careers. A lot of them, like Chara, started out as such a tall, skinny guy trying to find his feet, then all of a sudden became an everything player, like the guy, whether it be tough or score goals, shoot a puck over 100 miles an hour, the best defensive guy. Keith, what he's done. Thornton, how do you get traded out of Boston and then go and have even a better career in San Jose? And the longevity. He even played a bit here in Toronto, and I think he's as young now at his age. Like, no wonder he lasted so long getting along with today's players, because he's a very young guy at heart. And just the longevity, I think, of all the players that are going in now, how long they played their sport.
Hey, Wendel, so how about this guy on the screen right now, Alexander McGillney, Toronto Maple Leaf. I was lucky enough to play with Alex on his line when he scored 76 goals in Buffalo.
Oh, he could have had 90.
If he had a good left winger.
One for Mayday? Is that where you're going? Wow. All right, now we're getting somewhere.
And I got to play with him in Vancouver. But you know Alex awfully well. It's taken him a long time to get this induction.
I think it's surprising. I would have had him in a lot earlier, but he has some of the most talented I've ever seen. He played here in Toronto, and I think he only scored 30-some goals each year. Could have had 50, but he had more fun setting somebody up on a pass that nobody would even try, and he could pull it off. He had so much fun playing the game, and when it was his puck, it was his. Like, you couldn't get it off him, you couldn't catch him. He could speed, dangle, he could do it all. He could play.
When you were growing up, Will, in Toronto and area, I just wonder what your earliest moments of Leaf fandom would look like. Was it, the classic hockey night in Canada, watching all the games? Was it an interaction with a Leaf? Where was it for you that really stuck with you?
So many memories. You know, a lot of them are tied to spending time with my dad. You know, coming home, playing on a Saturday evening, and then coming home and watching the Leafs at night on Hockey Night in Canada. When I you know, being 9 years old, and I played goal when I was younger, and coming home, and I'd stick my pads on, and I'd watch Mike Palmatier make saves on TV, and I'd try to emulate them in the living room, you know, and I just all things like that, like the things you do when you just love hockey, you know. Walking down to the park and playing shinny on the weekends, just playing whatever you could, whenever you could. You know, playing outdoors in a league when I was like 7, you know, and my feet freezing. My grandmother taking an old empty tin of cookies and filling it with cold water and putting my feet in it so I don't get frostbite, and tying my, you know, helping me untie my skates.
That's serious.
Yeah, like just like all those memories, right, of being Canadian and doing that. I was at that game, Rocky Sagniak's game. I've talked about this before. I don't know if you guys remember that name, Rocky Sagniak. And yeah, I was about 7, 8 years old, and he came in, and I guess it was his first game, and he scored a goal, and I remember the whole Maple Leaf Gardens just going, Rocky, 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 and just feeling the thrill of the power of everybody and all the fans and the power of that stayed with me forever.
And there was some the old buildings, like all the original. Brad and I got to play in a lot of the old original buildings, and they were tight and close. Fans were on top, whether you're in Boston, Chicago, the old Montreal, Toronto. You know, there was no glass. The fans were on the bench. So there was a real tight feeling with the fans back in the 80s and earlier watching the game.
Hey, knowing that you were a goaltender, and Mike Palmatier for sure, big glove saves. But do you remember, because we're around the same age, Alan Bester, when he came on the scene? I was Alan Bester in the basement for sure. He was fun.
You know what's funny? Somebody mentioned, I remember my buddy who's from Halifax, he and his brother used to have this argument, and he was a goalie, my buddy Eli, and he'd be like, no, you know, Alan Bester is great, he's great, and his brother Yuri's like, no, Alan Bester was no good. And years later, like 10 years ago maybe, in their 40s, his brother Yuri looks up and he goes, I was wrong. When I looked at the analytics of Alan Bester, he was a really good goalie. Isn't that funny? Like the numbers backed it up.
That's great. I've only got you for a couple more minutes, and then I know you got to move. But on your podcast, Smart List, is there a dream guest that you would love to interview? And maybe, second part of that, is there a hockey guy, maybe Wendel's next, that you would love to have on the show?
Well, we've only had 2 hockey guys on the podcast. The first guy we had was my buddy Shanny, Brendan Shanahan. He came on early days before I don't even know if we were on the air yet. And we were just, you know, I hope he hears this. We were just looking for warm bodies, Shanny. And he was great. And then we had Wayne on, which was great. I'd love to get this guy on. It'd be unbelievable. It'd be a thrill of a lifetime for me, for sure. And the guys know that. So that would be awesome. In terms of non-hockey dream guys, I mean, I don't know. You know, that's
some big names.
Yeah, there's some people that I'd like to get. I wanted to get Tina Turner on. I know that sounds weird, but I thought she'd be really cool, and then she passed away.
Hey, you just had the pretty woman on, Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts was awesome.
We like Julia Roberts.
Yeah, yeah. she was amazing. Yeah, I mean, by the way, again, there are so many moments when I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Julia Roberts, or, you know, talking to Wayne for that matter, or talking to, you know, we talked to at one point Biden, Clinton, and Obama at the same time, all three in a room. And I'm like, how did this kid from Toronto get in this room? You know what I mean? Like, it blows me away.
Last one for you, and that is, and I'll put you on the spot here. Name your top 5 all-time Leafs that if you could ice your starting 5. Same question for you, and you can put yourself in there who you'd love to play with.
I work for the organization, you know.
Oh yeah, you're going to take somebody off. Never mind.
I get it.
If you leave one guy off,
okay,
you'll hear
Dougie's first. Dougie's first.
You're
My
safe.
centerman's got to be first.
That's right. Okay, so of all time, it doesn't matter if it's positionally correct. Just put the 5 in there that you need and a goalie.
I'd have to go him, Dougie, and then I'd probably go Mats, and then. You know, that's a tough one, man. On D, there's so many great guys. Who would I put on there?
BJ, Boria.
Boria?
Yeah. Or, yeah. Who else? And I put Cujo. I maybe put Cujo in nets.
On that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a safe bet.
Yeah. Cujo in nets. And then one more. I don't know. We were just talking, you know, there are a lot of current Leafs that I like. Like, I love Willie because you never know what he's going to do. He's turned into a two-way player. I mean, this guy is dangerous, and he feels no pressure, and you kind of want a guy who's got no pressure, so I'm going to put Willie on there.
Little swagger.
Because he's just cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Looks like
Yes.
I got to go back and play my old defense role again in that lineup.
Sorry, man.
Listen, we really appreciate you stopping by. Oh, yeah, we got the big oversized hat. It's funny. Norm Macdonald
It's
reference
not-
there, but
Not even going there with that
It's
joke.
not my hat.
yeah.
It's not my hat.
Brad.
No Ty Domi jokes. I know where you're going.
going there.
I have a huge head. This
Here,
would fit
if you
me.
could sign that, and then we're going to raffle this off at the end of the season for
Fantastic.
charity, and we're putting every guest on
My
there.
signature might devalue it. So
Top
Go
bidder,
right there.
Mayday's buying it. And we'll get you over there. Carolina in town, and Mayday and I are going to stick around.
I don't think I've signed it
There we
yet.
go. There we go.
And Wendell, you'll be shaking hands and kissing babies all night over there. You'll probably stop by the alumni lounge. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll be in there sometime.
Hey, one
Probably
last
see him over there looking for the free hot dogs.
One last question for Will. You're talking about your new movie and the collaboration with one of your best friends. What can you say about Bradley Cooper?
unbelievable. The guy's an unbelievable artist. I don't know if you ever saw Maestro or A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
He's a great filmmaker. You know, we've been friends for 25 years, and I took this to him and I said, hey, I actually sent it to him and said, hey, give me some thoughts on this script that I'm writing. What do you think? And he called me back and he said, I want to direct it and I want to rewrite it. He must not have thought my writing was very good. And I want to make it and I want you to be the guy. And he's just an unbelievable guy. This he's got it all. He's the full package and just a really quality human being.
Amazing. We'll stop there. Enjoy the game tonight. We appreciate you coming by.
Thank you,
This
fellas.
was fun.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks.
Wendell.
Thanks,
As
guys.
always,
Thanks
we
a lot.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
Bradley,
enjoy the tilt
thank you.
tonight. All right, Will Arnett,
Good job,
Wendell
guys.
Clark stopping by on Unsportsmanlike content. They got to go. We're going to do the one cheek
shuffle.
sneak. Yeah, we'll slide over Crokinole term there. And we will continue on with a conversation about, thank you, gents. Appreciate it. We'll continue the conversation here on Hall of Fame weekend, May Day. How great is that to have those guys come by?
It's really cool. And you can see how Will loves it. He met Wendel
Oh, man.
Clark. He knows Wendell, but we all get excited when we see Wendell. That guy was
Right?
a human highlight reel when he was a player here, and obviously Will Arnett as well. I actually was really, really jacked up to ask him about Strawn's.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you're into it.
I love that movie, Blades of Glory, because I had that experience on Battle of the Blades.
That's right.
And of course,
You reminded me of
Iron
that.
Lotus, and it was a ton of fun. Great guest. Great guest.
And what I really liked too was, and you'll see this on some of the Maple Leaf social channels coming up in a short time, we kind of surprised him, Will. We did the little walk and talk, which we've been doing. He didn't know Wendell was waiting for him on the bench. And you'll see he was just, forget about all the movie stars. And you heard him mention he's had conversations with presidents and actors and famous folks. You could see him. You could see it in his eyes just how much that meant for him to be presented a jersey from Wendel Clark on the bench at Scotiabank Arena. So that's kind of cool.
It makes me as a hockey player feel really cool because, we admire obviously musicians and actors and the stuff that we all consume. They love their sports, and it's a beautiful thing that they love hockey.
Let's pivot and talk a little bit about the game because, in this market, understandably so to some degree, there is, when things are going well, they're going well, and people are sort of cautiously optimistic, and then you take a little bit of a dip, and then all of a sudden the sky's falling. They're 3-1, the Leafs are, in their last 4 games. They did not like.
When you say that,
Yeah.
I was driving here today, and I'm thinking, I've actually bought into this mentality. I'm like, the sky is falling.
And you played. You know you can't.
And when you said that, winning 3 of their last 4, it's so true. And the big guys are scoring. Like Matthews has been hot. Willie's been hot.
Willie
We've got
almost tied up, right?
Robertson.
You got
Robertson's
the
been
crossbar,
scoring.
everything. They almost tied it up, but
I'd like to see them get more pucks to the net, though.
Sure.
They need to get a little more activity there with bodies in front, especially in front of a goaltender that they'll see tonight in Freddie Anderson. Obviously, Freddie's coming back playing against Toronto, but the idea that you got to get the puck to the net and take the eyes away from the goaltender.
And I'll just play devil's advocate. The offense is still there. To me, it's about turnovers. I thought the Bruins made them make mistakes. I like the way the Bruins sticks were going. I like the way that there was relentless pressure by Boston. If you're Toronto, you want to clean up those mistakes. I think you want to be a little crisper. Far be it from me. I have no clue what I'm saying, but I just thought that from the outside was what I was noticing. And in chatting with some of those guys, the details of, maybe cleaning up those mistakes was a big thing for them.
There's no question. And here's the thing, Toronto, they've run into some injuries. They've had that bug. Obviously, I think it's a big loss with Chris Tanev not playing.
And now Scott Lawton.
And Scott
and we
Lawton
don't know at this point what his timeline is like.
All I know is I'm thankful I'm not a player anymore, because when he actually was coming up the boards, Nikita Zadorov's a big dude,
man.
And he stepped in there. It was a awfully aggressive, good hit. And sometimes when you have your head down on the boards, happened to all of us, but it never felt good.
It's a big man. Some thought it was a little high. Scott Lawton is, of course, we're thinking about him because there's a player who just battled to get back, and you know how important he is. You hear it from his teammates about what a glue guy. Jake McKay just said before I came over here that this is maybe the best guy in the room he's ever had inside that locker room. His impact is felt. They're thinking about him. Good on Bobby McMahon. To kind of step in there. He didn't like it. John Tavares didn't like it. I don't think many of the guys in that room liked it. They thought it was a bit high. I don't want to put words in everyone's mouth there, but that was kind of the notion that you heard. So they've got to park that. They've got to find a crispness to their game and get back on track against a relentless forecheck that is the Carolina Hurricanes.
No question. Before I get to Carolina, just to finish up on that point, if I'm playing, or the Toronto Maple Leafs, if anybody aggressively hits your teammate, that opens up the floodgates, and for Bobby McMahon to jump in there. Obviously, Zadorov's a big dude.
Gave up some size.
But you know what? You can't let your teammates. You got to build that team identity. That all for
we
one,
hadn't
one
seen
for
that
all.
Mayday, right?
I like.
We hadn't seen enough of that in the past.
Right.
The goalie treatment.
Yep.
There wasn't necessarily a response. So you did like what Bobby did.
Oh, I loved what
Yeah.
Bob. And here's the thing: there's a big argument that anytime there's a good hit in the game, there shouldn't be a fight. Well, you know what? There's only so many opportunities that these players do get. Very possible that Bobby McMahon wouldn't be on the ice again against Zadorov, however the game goes. When these things arise, you got to take. It's a cost of doing business. I love the physical side. I think it builds chemistry, it builds energy within the group, and you got to be known as a tough team to play against, and that's one way to do it.
I love that he was willing. I love guys who are willing.
Yeah.
No matter what the outcome is going to be, he was willing. That's great. Okay, I want to ask you now about Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah.
You know some of these guys pretty well, and I want to ask you, maybe we'll start with a couple of the obvious ones in Joe Thornton.
Yep.
And the big man, Zdeno Chara.
So I played against all four of these guys.
Yep.
So starting with Joe Thornton, first of all, Jumbo is an absolute gem. What a great person. His teammates love him. This guy is the light in a room. I saw him this summer at a golf course. He came into the clubhouse, and across the room, he was shouting Mayday, comes over with a big hug, and he's so recognizable with that beard he has.
Yeah.
But this guy, as a player, one of the greatest passers the game's ever had. Just the cerebral plays he'd make. San Jose, they'd never won, but I'll tell you what a wagon they had. And of course, his teammates, they love Joe Thornton.
Oh, man.
So deserving, first ballot, wonderful to see.
I remember one time with Joe, he was with San Jose. I had parachuted into a series, and he, Danny Heatley, and Patrick Marleau, I think they had just one goal in the series. Everybody, it was Game 7. Everybody in hockey was there, and I was in a terrible position in a media scrum. So was my camera. So I thought, I better ask the first question, and I asked him about the struggling offense. He looks out at the crowd. He goes, "Who the F is this guy?" and walked away. Scrum buster. Everybody looked at me like, "You idiot." I just dropped into the series, and he made me pay, and it was brilliant. We laughed about it later, but I think you talk about personality, that youthful exuberance in his game, and the way he went about his business. Boy, he was a real character. You heard Wendel talking about how long they played. Just an impressive career.
Hey, so for Joe, he was inducted into San Jose. They retired his jersey or whatever it was last season, I believe. And his speech went on and on. But I swear, it's much must-watched. Not TV. You got to go on and stream it. But I implore every fan that actually wants to see this. This guy is one of the greatest orators in front of the group, in front of San Jose. I can't wait to hear his speech on Monday night.
That should be good. Hey, Zdeno Chara.
Zdeno Chara, this guy, absolute beast, strongest man in hockey, still is, incredible shape, does the Tour de France, climbs Mount Kilimanjaro. But outside of that, his dedication to the game. He worked out 2-3 times a day. They actually took the keys away from him when he was an Ottawa Senator because they didn't want him working out so much. He'd go back in the evenings. He worked, he developed himself, and he earned everything he got. He's one of the best that's played, certainly over the last many decades. If I can go on, my guy this year that I'm so excited to see, outside of Duncan Keith, who is so worthy as well.
What a resume.
Is Alexander McGillney. It took him a long time. He was a teammate of mine twice in Buffalo. I played with him on his line.
Took him too long to get here. Should have been here
And Wendell's
before.
probably right. He probably could have had 90 if he had a better passer on the left side.
Subtle shot.
But all I would do is I'd chip pucks off the glass. I'd skate down the rink. I'd threaten people's lives. And Alex and Patty LaFontaine would play catch and score goals. It was an unbelievable.
Were you really threatening guys? Don't even look at him or I'll break your arm.
100%.
Were you?
And it was just the greatest role for me, and it was fun. And but then I played with Alex a few years later with the Vancouver Canucks, and absolutely love Elmo. I'm sad that he won't be here. I don't believe he's going to make an appearance here in Toronto, but he's back in Russia. But absolutely incredible guy. I'll give you a funny story.
Yeah, I want some good memories.
I say
of him.
funny story. It's actually a terrible story.
Oh.
But we were pregame meal in Buffalo. It was my rookie year, and Lily Langtree's in East Aurora, or not East Aurora, East Amherst. We get up and we leave. There was Ken Sutton, Brad Miller, Rob Ray, and myself, along with Alexander McGillney. A gentleman had walked into the kitchen or into this little area, and as we were getting up and leaving, Alex's friend sits down with him. So Alex doesn't leave the restaurant. Turns out the guy pulled a gun underneath the table and hijacked him and threatened him and extorted him for money.
What?
Now the NHL and the NHL security got involved, and they ended up getting this guy. Well, he was Alex's interpreter when he first got to Buffalo, and somehow with Mafia and the KGB and whatever that was, this guy was trying to extort Alexander McGillney. And here's the thing:
where were you in all this?
If he just tapped me and told me to stick around, I would have loved it.
What would you have done?
I don't know. I'll tell you what. You don't ever want to get involved with anybody with a gun. But yeah, he was extorted at this restaurant. Crazy thing. Alex says, "Listen, I don't have any money. Follow me back to my house." Alex is a car aficionado, and I think he busted it down Transit Road and he lost him.
Really?
The guy that was following him, Alex got to his house or wherever he went and was able to ditch the guy. But I think he got arrested. It was a big story back in 1991, 92.
That is wild that you were in and around that at that point.
But Alex left. He defected from his country. I couldn't imagine what that would be like at that time. The courage, the passion that, of course, to be a hockey player, but to come in search of a better life and further his career and certainly his ambitions. It's unreal. He should have been in the Hall of Fame for that alone, because the floodgates at that time, Gorbachev and Yeltsin, and the wall comes down around that, and then of course you get the Russian Five coming to Detroit. That all started on the heels of Alexander McGillney. It's not the National Hockey League Hall of Fame, it's the Hockey Hall of Fame. So all that international contribution. Alex he's a fantastic person.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what kind of a guy is he?
player.
I don't know him. What kind of a person was he?
He just definitely different than what we grew up with, right? Like just, I don't know, family dinners around the table, culturally. Yeah. He grew up in a communist country, breadlines, and he had to defect from a country, and they took him and they had to hide him in a safe house, and that should be a movie in itself. But incredible person, loved cars. He took up a passion for golf, and Alex, whatever he put his mind to, he was going to be great at. He's a really smart guy. The one thing that struck me, though, when I first made the National Hockey League, Alex loved watches, and we were in New York one day, and I think he bought a watch for like $25,000, and I was like, just my eyes popped out of my head. I couldn't understand anybody that would ever do something like that. But the last story about Alexander McGillney, at his 40th goal, he was making $185,000, 92-93. For his 40th goal, he got a bonus of $5,000 a goal until 45, and he got $10,000 a goal after 45. He wanted a Mercedes S12 or 500, whatever the car was at the time, was going to cost him $130,000. Scored 13 goals in a week and a half.
Bought the car.
If there was more incentive given to Alexander McGillney, he would have been the first guy to score 100 goals.
Hall of Fame weekend, Hall of Fame stories, Mayday. Real quick, give me a Mayday minute. Anywhere you want to go, make it tight. We got just under a minute to go when it comes to your thoughts either on the game or the weekend.
So I
Fire away.
I have a few things here written down. So my first thing right now for tonight, they have to get more pucks, more rubber to the net. They got to take the eyes away from Freddie Anderson with the traffic in front and have that. Number two, Carolina is very, very dangerous off the rush. If I'm not mistaken, unless it changed after the drubbing with Colorado scoring 9 goals, Carolina scored the most goals off the rush in the National Hockey League. So for the Toronto Maple Leafs, defensemen have to have a great gap. They have to have that third forward high and backside pressure. They have to shrink the ice inside their own zone and take those passing lanes away. And my last one is they have to generate more sustained time in the corners. People would call it the grind game, but Toronto, to me, I feel that there's too many one and dones. If they can actually sustain that offensive attack and then get the puck to the net, we're going to see good things.
Great stuff, buddy, and great guest tonight. Thank you for being here as always. That was awesome. Will Arnett, Wendel Clark. You can catch tonight's game on TSN, on radio, on the Fan 590. So tune in and have a listen to the Canes and Leafs. And thank you for tuning in across all Maple Leaf platforms tonight for Unsportsmanlike content. Enjoy the game, everybody.